We'll see how this goes. If the 2 disc priests are geared, it's like already over. Like, no one's gonna die if the disc priests are geared. There's one of them. 28,000 health isn't a whole lot. Where's the other one? It's probably him in the back. Ooh, a tank with 60,000 health. That's nice. We'll just go on this guy. So, Frost is a little bit different, but it's not a whole lot different, I'd say. You pretty much still spam Obliterate and stuff, but... One thing I have noticed is that your Frost Strike is no longer ranged, so that's kind of shitty, but it's not horrible. Rotation's pretty much the same. It's a little bit different when it comes to, like, lower rune damage, but for the most part it's the same. I'm gonna death grip this guy. Once he just blinks away, he'll just die too fast. I'm kinda stuck here. I'm gonna go on that rogue though. Sorry, I death gripped him away from you. That's my bad. So again, what I meant by lower runic power damage is the fact that you want to keep Icy Talons up. I think that's what it's called, yeah. So Icy Talons increases your auto attack damage. That with Frozen Pulse is kind of your lower rune damage. And then Obliteration is just a passive now. Pretty much makes it so you get a lot of Killing Machine procs. We'll go on this guy. We'll see if I can 1v whatever this. We'll see. Please. Thank you, based God. Will I live? Good stuff there. He's just gonna die to auto attacks, I bet. Just kidding. There we go. So most of my damage there, I mean a lot of it was Frost Fever, I'm not gonna lie. Frost Fever, Howling Blast, and auto attacks do most of your damage now. Plus Obliterate. Probably Frozen Pulse is pretty much just extra damage. Frost is in a weird state right now. So the way I play it right now is you play it like you used to, where you just, you know, use Remorseless Winter, run in, use Obliterates, use Howling Blast whenever those proc, and then use Frost Strike whenever you're low on runic power. But the one playstyle thing that's kind of different about it now is the fact that you need to manage your runic power when you're low on runes a lot better. Otherwise, you're just going to be rune starved a lot. On this huge group, I'm just going to apply Howling Blast on all of them, because your Frost Fever does apply rune power, or give you runic power whenever it does do damage now, so that's something to keep in mind. From what I was told, from what I read in the tooltip, it gave me runic power. Maybe I was misled. I'm gonna death grip this guy. I know that's like not what I'm supposed to do at all, but it happened. Deal with it. So you'll see here, I have like nothing to use except just Frost Strike. And you see I'm not just spamming it. That's because I'm trying to kind of time my Frost Strikes with my Icy Talons buff. I'm actually just going to pop cooldowns here, and when you do pop cooldowns, you can just spam your abilities. Here I'm actually just going to Death Strike a lot, because I'm taking a ton of damage. Probably going to die here. Yeah. Just overextended. That's all that happened. Breath Spec for Big Burst. Yeah, there's another spec that you can run. This is more of just like consistent damage. Breath Spec is Breath of Cinder Groza, Frostworms, and then probably Horn of Winter. Or you could take Murder Sufficiency. It's up to you there. Personally, I just like this build because increased auto attack damage. Consuming Killing Machine gives you extra procs. We'll go on this guy. So close. And the nice thing, I guess, about at least Frost, I don't think Howling Blast does a ton of damage, but the disease it applies actually does good damage now. Has a chance to generate runic power. Okay, I thought it was guaranteed. That's the awkward part. Go on this rogue. Pretty much just obliterate and Howling Blast. Whenever I get those, we'll go on the rogue here. Probably gonna pop cooldowns as well. Yeah, I'll Death Strike you. Just kidding. I wasn't Death Striking you, I was just Death Gripping you. That's probably the worst use of cooldowns I've ever used. Technically, we should be going on the healer as well, but... So something to keep in mind when playing Frost is just keep your Icy Talons buff up. That's probably the #1 priority, as I let it fall off. Going to Death Strike this guy. Get my Runics. Frost Strike's going. My Runics going. That's a thing. Don't question me. I guess that's all I can do there. Keep my Icy Talons up. Going to Remorseless Winter for the AoE damage and for the extra damage in general. Go on this Feral. We'll pop Pillar of Ice here. Go on the tank. Kind of get some health back. With just Death Strike. Interrupt that Shadow Mend. Get another Death Strike off for the heal. Keep up Icy Talons with Frost Strike or Death Strike. Your choice, depending on what your health is at. I should be admittedly slowing people a lot more. That is something I've realized a lot with my Death Knight gameplay. I don't really slow people as much as I nearly should. So, something... Like, there's always stuff to improve on when you're PvPing. I don't really care who you are. There's always something you can do better. So that's just... I don't know, something to think about, I guess. Do need to press Chains of Ice more. Sapped. Is there Berserking over there? Okay, I'll grab that. I'd love it if a rogue went on me. Like, I think I could 1v1 a rogue, probably. If I don't get sapped over by Berserking, there's like... The rogues are doing something wrong. There's a talent where... Yeah. I know I should probably take this. So my honor talents, I shouldn't really take Be Necrotic. I'd rather take, whatever this is, Frozen Center, and then that would root someone, and then if you Death Strike someone, or if you Frost Strike someone while they're rooted, / immobilized, which is a root, increases the crit chance of your Frost Strike by 50%, so you can just pretty much spam that, and it would do decent damage. Seems like there's a rogue, at least a rogue, on the flag carrier, so... Again, we'll pop cooldowns here. Gonna use my Pillar of Frost, gonna use my Power Rune weapon to just generate runes here. Hopefully this breaks from damage. If it doesn't, that's a fucking shame. That sucks. Well, I'm stuck here with like 10 DPS and a healer, so we'll go on the healer. Gonna Death Strike a lot here. Let's see. I could line of sight these guys and maybe have a chance, but... Again, just Death Strike a lot. That's all I can do here. We'll go on the Feral. Please. There we go. Apply dots again. Just Death Strike for health. So, I'd figured out as a Frost Death Knight now, you're definitely Death Striking a lot more than you were before the pre-patch. It's something that's just way more consistent in your rotation, instead of just like using it when you're using whatever it's called. Icebound Fortitude. The Icebound Fortitude heal was really good. I'll just go on this guy just for the loss. And again, blinded. Cool. Nice. Good job. And he cloaked a disease from a Death Knight. So a lot of people say Death Knight's the worst. Or Frost Death Knight's the worst spec right now. I agree with it. I don't deny it. I don't think it's like bad as in like it doesn't do any damage. I think it's a lot harder compared to what it was in Legion. So that's why everyone's kind of complaining about it. I don't think it's ruined. Nice. Thought I had the not movable action bars on, but is it really worth hitting that guy? Not at all. We'll hit a healer instead. At least healers give me somewhat of a challenge. I'm not going to use any cooldowns here just to kind of test my damage. And again, all I'm going to do is... God, I'd love it if I could play the game. We'll death grip this guy. The glorious range on Death Grip now just makes me happy. We'll Death's advance this. I'm gonna apply diseases to like all these guys. You'll see how much damage my diseases do here. Go on the rogue. He used evasion, so I'm not really gonna go on him anymore. We'll go on this guy. And again, just obliterate whenever it's up. Use your Howling Blast procs whenever those happen, and that's about all you can do, I guess. Make sure your Icy Talons buff stays up when you're low on runes. Like right now, you only want to use your Frost Strike whenever it's for refreshing your Icy Talons proc, because your auto attacks do decent damage now. And your, for the most part, your rune generation, or most of your damage is just from auto attacks and obliteration. You'll see him just kind of sitting on this guy. He's not even healing himself, but I haven't even popped cooldowns yet. Do I pop cooldowns? Why not? Here's cooldowns on his part too. Disc priests are fun. I'm gonna apply my Remorseless Winter, try and hopefully get a Frost Strike to reapply my Icy Talons buff. Gonna do that again to reapply my Icy Talons buff. And this is all I do now. This is Frost DK. It's a different playstyle, I guess, when it comes to Frozen Pulse. It does just do extra damage, so that's something to keep in mind. Frozen Pulse is just, you shouldn't think of it as any other way other than just extra damage at this point. We'll go on the Warrior. Warrior's like half dead anyway. Go on the Priest now. Use your Howling Blast procs whenever those happen. Just, poor Priest is getting death gripped everywhere. We'll use cooldowns here. By cooldowns, I mean Path of Frost, or Pillar of Frost, that's my bad. Use Nest of Dance here just to get rid of that slow, slash get an increase to move speed. There's another Priest here, so we're probably going to switch to that other Priest. That is the Priest we were just on. If I could Howling Blast that big group of people, that would have been cool. I would have gotten a lot of rune generation there. So, that's one thing to keep in mind. I'm going to be death striking a lot more here, because I do have a ton of people on me. Pretty much going to try and negate as much damage as possible. AMS, Howling Blast, Death Strike, kind of the normal kind of thing you want to use whenever you're trying to avoid damage. And again, I'm just sticking on this guy because he is the only healer. If my teammates do actually manage to attack the flag carrier, he's probably just going to fall over. I did see someone grab the flag there, kind of looking like the Death Knight with 20,000 health, so not really a huge concern. I'm going to use Death Pact here. That wasn't a voice crack, what are you talking about? Didn't interrupt anything there, that's a good sign. I don't know, Frost DK is different. I don't think it's horrible by any means. I just think it's a lot more different than it was before the pre-patch. I'd say most of our damage does come from auto attacks now. Auto attacks and obliterate. If he was in range, I could just hit him. There we go. Like, if you pay attention to how much damage my auto attacks are doing, it's a bulk of my damage. It's about as much as obliterate, I'd say. Getting focused here. I'm gonna have to Death Strike. Interrupt that. Apply dots to them again. I need to apply dots to this hunter. There we go. Should probably slow him too. Okay. I mean, that was the flag room fight. So again, as I said before, most of your damage, auto attacks, Frost Fever, Howling Blast, and Obliterate. Frost Strike is still up there, but you're not using it as much as you were before in the fact that you were just spamming it. You're kind of just using it to keep up your Icy Talons proc and your Frozen Pulse whenever you're low on runic power. So if you want to play Frost, I mean, I'd say do this. Do this build, you'll probably like it. It'll be a little odd. It was a little odd to me, at least while I played it at first when the pre-patch dropped. If this guy, I'll go on the Warrior here actually. It's a fucking dumb Warrior, like I kind of have to. We'll just death grip him back. Have a hunter on me now. Probably gonna use some defensives here. Maybe. I think I might die to the pet. What am I hitting? Gonna slow him. He does have 20,000 health, so it's not really a huge concern of mine, I guess. I'm gonna death grip him up here. I'm sorry, I've just been death gripping away from you, Rogue. If they cap it, they win. Something to think about, I suppose. Okay, we won. That's all that matters. It's actually killing blows the only thing that matters in random BGs, but... So, we'll look at my damage and review it. If I reset the damage, which I hope I did. Yeah, it looks like I did. Some of it's mixed, but just looking at the damage and review, Frost Fever, most damaging ability. I was applying it in big groups, so it's not really a surprise. Auto attacks is second in damage. With this build, you are kind of focusing on auto attacks with your Icy Talons proc, so that's something to keep in mind. Whenever you do get a Howling Blast proc, you want to use that, just because it's extra damage and applies your Frost Fever, which is your top damaging ability. Before you run in, you want to use Remorseless Winter because it does AoE cleave people. It is kind of up there in damage, so that's something to keep in mind. You want to use it first, and then every time you use a rune, it'll pretty much increase damage by 10% for each rune, and then extend the duration. After that, just obliterate people and Frost Strike to get runes back, / keep Icy Talons up, / apply Frozen Pulse to people, which is kind of in there. It doesn't do a whole bunch of damage, but it's just extra damage that you don't really have to think about. I do think that Row's very weak for Frost Death Knight, so that's the main reason I use Frozen Pulse. And then Death Strike whenever you want. You don't have Icebound Fortitude Death Strike heal anymore, so that's kind of shitty, but that means you can just Death Strike whenever you want to now. And use Icebound Fortitude whenever you want, so that's Frost DK.